phone. We had to do a little workaround, but either way, we got it to work. So let's go ahead and talk, right? Let's talk. Today's title is perspective. All right. Today's title is perspective, right? So as we're going through this, I want you to be thinking, first of all, drop what your definition of perspective is in the chat, right? Drop your definition in the chat, and I'm going to go ahead and get the dictionary definition of perspective. All right. So drop some definitions that you guys have for perspective. Let me take back host right here, reclaim. There we go. All right, we're good. So we got how you view something as a person, a healthy view. Perspective is point of views, own point of view, right? So the dictionary definition, we got two here. The art of drawing solid objects on a two-dimensional surface so as to give the right impression of their height, width, depth, and position in relation to each other from a particular point, or a particular attitude toward or a way of regarding something. Like you all said, a point of view, right? So it's all in how you look at everything, because we talk about how when you change how you look at something, what you look at changes, right? When you change what you look at, what you're looking at actually changes. So why are we talking about perspective? Because a lot of times our perspective can get blurry, right? Perspective can get off course. And the reality is perspective is actually everything, right? You can't let negative experiences that you've had in your life, like steal your joy. You can't let it stop you from celebrating your accomplishments and what it is that you deserve. But sometimes we feel like we don't have accomplishments. Sometimes we feel that we don't deserve what it is that we actually deserve, right? So you got to understand that once you earn something, whether that's making, somebody said $400 in a night, whether you earn somebody saying yes to join you in business, whether you earn, something in your life, maybe you earned an ice cream because you've been consistently putting in work the last 21 days towards your diet, so whatever that thing is, understand that every little small thing that you do it's the compound effect, right? We call it compound interest. Every time you do a little bit, it adds on. And if you stay consistent, then you'll get to the result it is that you truly want. So your perspective actually, it controls how you're going to perform in your everyday life. So when you go to do something, when you're doing something new, whether you're, again, starting a new workout program, whether you're starting a new class, a new academy, whether you're starting, your first business or your second business, when you're starting that thing, how you look at the work is actually going to determine how you feel about it, right? If I'm going to the gym and I feel like the workout that they're giving me is irrelevant to what it is that I'm doing, I'm not going to take that workout as serious if I don't respect the person that's telling me the information, right? So I got to respect my coach at some point, because if I didn't respect the coach, if I didn't respect the person giving me the information, what would I not do? I wouldn't do the work, right? I would literally go there. I would literally look at what he's telling to do, and I'd be like, I don't need to do all of that. And that's how some people treat this business. That's how some people treat their trade account and their education. I know they said to do the 72-hour fast start, right? The full thing, start to finish. But if I only do 1 and 2, I'll still be able to be successful. Some people say, well, I know they said go through the entire academy, right? But I think if I only watch these couple videos, it'll all make sense. We always say it'll all make sense. It'll all make sense when you do it the way it was designed to be done, right? I know they said to go ahead and take a buy right now, but actually, I know they said to go ahead and take a buy. They sent a signal out, but it's 3 hours later. I'm going to go ahead and still get in this trade. But we also told you to make sure the number is still in the same area, right? Make sure it's still in the same range. I know the educator said take a call, but I took a put. I know they said to make my list, but I'm going to just call a couple friends. If they say yes or no, then I'm going to go with that, right? You're not respecting the process, right? It's funny we talk about the process because we're listening to the Process mixtape, But I wasn't even thinking about that because you're in it, you get there, right? It's going through the process. But the reality is, right? The reality is when you're changing that perspective in what you're looking at, you're going to now have a better outlook on, wow, they've been through this. They've done this before. Maybe I should listen. Then you get through it. Look at this. The person that listened, they get started. They also knew absolutely nothing, but they start getting results in a matter of weeks, right? 1, 2 months, they're understanding everything. They're able to chart. They're able to bring a couple friends in, right? They're putting themselves in a position to now have a residual. They're also making money trading. But then you've been here for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and you're just like, I'm just not getting it. I still don't know how to put a line on my chart. I still don't understand how to read that thing on the scanner. Well, if we go back to the process, right? If we go back to the process, we got to identify, what did you skip? Did you spend the 2 to 4 weeks with the basics educators? Longer if needed. Did you choose a product? Did you go through whatever their boot camp or whatever that educator has aside for you? Did you use the basic? Charles just calls 3 days a week, right? We have videos recorded in the group. Did I do that? Not one time, but did I stay in the information, right? So when you change your perspective from it's hard, it's not working, to change your perspective to, did I do everything I was supposed to do? That's when you stop saying things are hard and you start saying, oh, I did it wrong. Oh, I made a mistake. But the problem there is, you got to be willing to admit you were wrong. You got to be willing to, and you don't even got to say it to nobody. You got to say it to yourself. That's the issue. Some people aren't even willing to tell themselves, maybe I took the wrong path. Let me go back to the thing that's working, right? Not because it's working for everybody, but because it's a proven system from the individuals that are literally here to help me get to the next level, right? But it's a couple stories on this I want to give y'all as we're going through it, right? The first thing, and y'all can feel free to take notes on this. Maybe you just want to jot a couple things down, but these will be good things to remember even as you're having conversations with people, right? First, there was a farmer, right? It's a city, it's a town, and in this town, you got some individual. You can think of this can be your hometown, it can be wherever. I'm just going to use my city, right? I'm in the city. My next door neighbor sees me outside digging up a hole, right? I'm digging up my yard. They're wondering, why am I messing up the yard? Why is there dirt everywhere, right? I let them know I'm planting a seed. I'm planting some seeds. I have some extra. Would you like some? They say, no, I wouldn't want my yard to look like that. Okay. You sure? I have some extra. Nah, I'm good. You really need to cover that up. It doesn't look good over there, right? I can't have people thinking that, our neighborhood looks like this. Fast forward, right? I'm watering the grass every day. It's starting to grow back, right? There's not really anything there. The same neighbor comes over. They say, what was the point in you digging that up? There's not even anything there. Now you have this little shallow patch in your grass. You know me, I'm not even responding to that. You have a nice day, sir. Fast forward, we start getting some sprouts, right? Maybe the tree's really small. They see it, but there's not really bearing any fruit. But 1 year later, 2 years later, now the tree's bearing fruit every time it's that season. It's that season for the fruit. Now, what happens is when I'm not home, I look at my camera, the little rings, right? You look at the ring, and I see the neighbor out in my yard picking fruit from my tree. And and I come back and I say, well, I was maybe this wasn't you, but I was looking at my I was looking at my camera. I got an alert. Somebody was in my yard, and I was just wondering why didn't you just ask? Right? They had to steal fruit because when it was time for harvest season, they had none because they didn't plant anything back in the day. They had the opportunity. They had the same everything that I had, but they chose not to mess up their yard or what seemed to be messing it up for that tree to grow. Some of you are in the process right now where you're in your life, things might get a little bit messed up. They don't look normal like it's been looking for the last few years, right? So because it doesn't look the same to the people that you're talking to, they think your yard's messed up. They think other people aren't going to like seeing what you're doing over there. So they're going to distance themselves from you, right? But they don't know that eventually that fruit's going to come out. And now they're going to want to start taking from the fruit. But they didn't plant anything when it was time, right? I'm going to give you another story. In the sport of track and field, everybody has, local schools, middle schools, high schools, right? Florida's known for its athletes. There's athletes, Olympians, people who at all different points, at some point were the fastest in the world, right? If you go to a local high school meet, like a track race, even the football games, right? But let's just use track for this example, because football games they get a pretty good turnout. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. With track, just depends. But the same individuals who wouldn't pay $5 to go to a local track meet, right? And I challenge you guys, look at the individuals in your area. Look what's going on in your city, right? But the same people who wouldn't pay $5 to go see some kids run, middle school, high school, they wouldn't go pay to see them run or compete at an event. Fast forward, when that kid gets to college, now they're talking about, oh, they're from my city. Oh, if only I would have known them back when, if only I could have seen them. Fast forward, that same kid, right? Let's take a Walter Dix. Let's take, any of the greats from Florida, the Olympians, the people who've already got the gold medals, right? They say, look, we're headed to the Olympics. Now you have the same individuals who for the last 12 plus years, well, let's take middle high school, for at least 5 to 8 years, had an opportunity to see this same person compete, see the same person dominate their area, right? They had the chance. They had a chance to take the pictures. They had a chance to be their supporter, but they didn't pay $5 when it was, local or even free. But now that person's on television. Hey, I want to go see so-and-so at the Olympics. I want to go see so-and-so at the Super Bowl. Now they're paying $500 for a round trip ticket. They're paying $1,000 for the hotel, for food, right? They're inviting all their friends. But they had an opportunity to see this same athlete a couple years ago for almost free. There's going to be individuals that you're connected to right now that have an opportunity to join you while the elite package is only $325. But they're going to look back. It's going to be 2025. We're going to have chairman, we're going to have all that fun stuff, right? But they're going to look back. You're going to be a 6-figure, a 7-figure, 8-figure trader. And they're going to say, hey, how can I learn what it is you're doing? Let me show you that you're going to give them the same process that you went through, but the platform is going to be $1,000. Hey, hopefully you don't go that high. But the platform, the value of money is going up. The platform is going to be $1,000 at the time, right? It's going to be $1,000. And they're going to be like, that's too much. Well, listen, I gave you the opportunity when it was $200. Some of y'all were here when it was $165. I'm talking about a couple years ago. It was $165. And then it was $199. Hey, right. But hey, Charles, hey, that's not high. What's high? Don't do that. Some of y'all was here when it was $199. Some of y'all was here for the $235. Now it's the $325. But you compare it to other places, you're just like, I see the value now. Some people wait until your cost goes up for you to see the value. I got another one. Look, it's a husband, right? A husband and a wife are arguing, right? They're in the hallway. They're arguing about the price of their rent. The wife says, I want to live somewhere more expensive, right? I want to live somewhere more upscale. I want to live somewhere that, I feel like we're worth more than where we are right now. Catch it. She said, I feel like we're worth more than where we are right now, right? So they're going back and forth. The landlord hears them. The next week, they get a notification on their door that the price of the rent has gone up. The husband says, well, look, I agree, we are worth more. Look, the price has gone up. We can stay right where we are. Right? So you got perspective. You got to know what it is that you want and where you want to go. Are you feeling that you're just worth more? Or do you actually know what you want? Right? Now, if it was something specific that other person would have said, right? Whether it was the husband or the wife, if it was something specific they were looking for, see, that's a little bit different than the price. You got to change what it is you're asking for. Some of your goals, right? Some of your goals, your reasons why, maybe they're not on target enough. Maybe they're not specific enough. Because if you really think about it, you probably already have some of them. You just got to change your perspective. So that's why we say get really crystal clear about what it is that you want. Because if you're currently making, let's say, $5,000 a month from your job, and you say, I'm so happy and grateful now I make $5,000 a month. Well, technically, you already have what you're asking for, right? You already have it. So you got to get specific with where it's coming from. You got to get specific with how you want to get it. Maybe not even the place, but the method. Outside of my 9 to 5, right? Hey, outside of what I already do, in abundance, in addition, add some numbers to that. Like you got to, right, Charles, the overflow, you got to increase your capacity to receive, right? And this last one, right? This last one on perspective. Drop a number 1 in the chat if you've ever gone to somewhere outside of the country, stayed at like a resort, maybe stayed on a beach somewhere, maybe one of the islands, right? You ever been outside of the country? Drop a number 1. And then drop a number 2 in the chat. Drop a number 2 in the chat if you love to go visit an island, if you haven't already, right? If you love to go visit some islands, you love to spend some time somewhere, right? So we got some people that's already traveled, people that still want to travel, even that have already traveled, right? Well, a man, he took a trip, he went to one of the islands, right? And on the islands, sometimes you get this notion that the individuals aren't as rich, right? They say they're poorer than what we are over in America, right? Sometimes people will say that. And the gentleman, he was at his hotel. And while he was at the hotel, he was talking to this other gentleman. We'll just say gentleman A and gentleman B. Gentleman A is the guy staying at the hotel. He's talking to this guy that he met. And he said, wow, people out here are so poor. He said, I couldn't see myself living here. They're living in huts and, I don't understand. They're eating outside. What is this? And the guy, the other gentleman, he asked him a question. He says, well, okay, so they're poor. I get that. What did you eat while you were on vacation? He said, well, I ate some fish. I had some, the island had some really nice fruits and vegetables, and they had all this different stuff, right? He said it was really, really good. It was sweet. I've never had food that was so amazing. He said, okay. He said, how far were the people that you're talking about, these poor people, how far were they staying? Like, where were they located on the island? He said they were only a few miles from the hotel that I was at. Man said, okay. He said, well, who's really poor? You spent thousands of dollars for only about a week to go to spend time in their country, on their island. You could only afford to stay there for a week, to eat the foods, to spend time there. He said that the people that you're talking about that are poor, he said, well, they get to eat that food every single day. The fruit trees you're talking about are in their backyard. Yes, they might cook outside, but they're fishing for the same fish that you just paid to eat. You had to pay $50 for that plate. They get it for free. He said, so who's really poor? Right? So when you really start looking at perspective, think about that even when you travel, right? You're going somewhere to spend money, many times somewhere where you can't even stay there for too long. If that man had to stay there for a whole month, he probably wouldn't have been able to afford it. But those people get to live in that paradise, but their accommodations might not look like yours. Who really got scammed? You spent thousands of dollars to be there for a week. They have no money, but they're living life better than you are, right? So when you start changing your perspective, when you start really identifying what it is that you truly want, like I've been talking about consistently, what do you really want to achieve? Like, what do you really, really want? That's why we challenge you when we come to these calls, when we do the beginner setups, when we're asking about your reason why, your mentor, they're challenging you for a reason, because if you're not clear on what you want, you'll start complaining and saying things aren't going the way you want them to go when you're getting exactly what you asked for. You're getting exactly what you asked for. So start changing what you're asking for, right? Start changing what you're asking for, how you're asking, and be consistent in that process. You got to be consistent. So that's my message for today. Perspective. When you change, David talks about all the time, when you change your environment, you change your life. But your environment isn't always physical. It's not always physical. It's what you're thinking. It's what you're hearing. It's what you're seeing, right? What are you putting around you? Not necessarily the city or the place that you're specifically living in, right? I'm not saying if you're sleeping on a hard floor, then the floor is not hard. I'm not saying that, right? But I'm saying the way that you look at it can change. That blanket might be the softest blanket ever, but you got to really identify, how am I going to look at things moving forward? If things really aren't working, I challenge you to pick up the phone, have a conversation with somebody who has the results where it is that you want to get results. Have a conversation. Because we talked about this before. When you pick up the phone, guess what? When I talk to Paris, we cool, but he's not going to tell me what I like to hear when we having a conversation about how to grow the business, right? Because it don't benefit him to lie to me. It don't benefit him and it don't benefit me. But more, it don't benefit him, right? So if you ask me on how to grow, it don't benefit me to lie to you. But that's why a lot of times you won't ask, a lot of times you won't ask the right person the right questions, because you know you're not going to like what they tell you. And when you don't like what they tell you, you know you're not going to do it anyway. So you don't ask. So you don't ask. Who's your mentor? I don't have a mentor. Why? Because you realize the person that's been telling you the things, even in the audios, they're telling you something that you don't want to do. And because you don't want to do what you've already heard, you're choosing to step away from the work. You can't run from the work. You can't run from the things that it's going to take to get to the next level. Imagine being here trying to trade, right? We talk about the people. All right, I thought I was done. We talk about the people that go on YouTube, right? like follow me here. Perspective. We talk about the people that go to YouTube University, right? They go to YouTube University. It's not organized. You can look, you can get the information, but it's not going to be in order. You're not going to be able to get the results that you want. But then you come here with the organized information and purposely get disorganized. Well, I'm watching this educator, then I'm gonna watch that educator, then I'm gonna go over here, then I'm gonna do this, then I'm gonna do that. All right, I'm gonna trade. All right, money in minutes, bet, money in minutes, money in minutes, money in minutes. You've been on so many money in minutes live sessions, you ain't even finished the academy yet. You've been on so many live sessions, account doing this, you haven't even gone through the educator's basics. When Matt or Taylor on Sunday or Evan Cabral on Sunday says, look, we're going to have our training session. I don't need to go to that. But you're going to show up tomorrow when they trade live. Right? When Abel Melendez hops on and he's training you on the basics, he says, yeah, I don't see any trades today. The market looks, how it looks. We'll check back tomorrow. You say, I'm going to go watch 30 other educators to find a trade. When the person that you said you were following didn't find a trade. Right? Think about it. The same way we talk about those people, you got to think about yourself. If I want organized information, I also have to be an organized person, right? I got to organize my day. Right? We talk about waking up, making sure you have a plan for your day. What's your schedule like? What time are you getting on Go Live? What educator are you trading with? It don't have to take all day. If you set aside 60 minutes of your day, 2 hours of your day, maybe an hour inside your academy, an hour inside to Go Live, right? Your day's done. But some of you will stare at the charts all day. You'll be on 30 different educators' call. And at the end of the week, you'll look at your account and you haven't made any money. But you didn't focus on one thing. If you pick one chart from the many charts that the different educators drop, right? I still pull up to Stevenson Lindor's, right? Calls, look, Tuesday night, Sunday night calls. Look, even if you catch the replay, he gives you the charts for the week. It was one chart, I think it was USD CAD this week. Yeah, USD CAD. When I say it came to the exact number on the line, like you didn't even have to know how to trade. You could have been like, oh, he said it was gonna come here. It hit that number, bye. You show it to the Skittles call, Charles is like, hey, look, this pair is looking really good today, right? Look out for this to make its move over the next few hours. You go look at 30 other charts, then the chart that they just said is going to be making a move soon. It doesn't make sense. You have the organized information. You have everything you need in front of you, but it is working. You're just not working it the way it's meant to be worked. And that's okay. Change. That's okay. Change. If you identified that, you see, okay, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Change what you're doing. You're going to be able to get a different result, okay? Be in that mindset. Now I'm done. Let's go ahead. Let's have an amazing, amazing weekend. Today's Friday, Residual Friday. Shout out to each and every single one of y'all that got paid today, right? Because there's somebody out there that didn't get paid. There's somebody out there that didn't get a check this Friday, right? That can really change somebody else's life. Somebody needs access to what it is you have access to. Even change your perspective in that. You making $37 a week, you making $150 a week, you making $250 a week. Be thankful, be grateful, and know that there's somebody that's making $0 this week, right? There's somebody that didn't make anything that would love to have an extra $1,000 in their account on a Friday. So share this information in a way that's going to help somebody else. What do we got today? 2 and 8 o'clock. 2 and 8 o'clock opportunity call. We're going to go ahead and be just laying out the entire plan, laying out the blueprint for what it is that we do for anybody out there that you know that you're connected to, social media, friends, family, that wants to learn how to do what it is that we're doing to be able to generate some passive income and generate some active income as well, right? We're going to be showing them how to do that 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Information is already in the Discord chat. And then, of course, coming up on Sunday, we got our Believe Bigger Faster. We got all the team calls. So definitely look out for those links. I appreciate each and every single one of y'all. Believe Nation, tickets are almost gone. Look, I'm seeing that thing everywhere. Make sure you get your ticket because they literally, the gold and the whatever the highest one's already sold out. So there's literally only a few left. We do have a leadership meeting tonight. Is it at 7 or 9? 7. All right, leadership meeting tonight. Check the leadership chat for the exact time. But yeah, leadership meeting tonight. We'll see y'all there. Appreciate each and every